What is going on with Ashes of Creation? This latest patch is not just a balance tweak, it's a full-on system overhaul. And while half the player base is still processing the shock, I'm gonna try and break down what the hell is actually happening. Oh yeah, hey guys, Flanker here, same as always. If you're new to the channel, well, don't be shy, we keep things sharp and honest around here. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're into real talk, and let's get into it. If you just launched the game after the patch, congrats, your old gear is officially outdated. This happened because the devs reworked all gear to follow the new stat distribution curves. In simple terms, the gear you had before might now have completely different stats or stat values. Naturally, this pissed off a lot of players who spent hundreds of hours grinding and enchanting their stuff, and honestly, I get it. Also, they have reworked base attribute waterfall stat distributions and added additional stats such as critical mitigation, disable resistance, and other defensive stats. So, what does that even mean? This means that this table has undergone significant changes. Core attributes now provide new waterfall stats, and the amount of those stats has been changed as well. If you haven't logged into the game after the update, well, this is what it looks like now. On top of that, the way rating stats convert to the actual stats has been changed too. Before, it was all pretty simple. 1 strength gave you 3 physical power rating, and that meant +1 actual physical power. Nice and clean. Same thing with crits. 20 critical chance rating used to equal 2% crit chance. Easy math. And now it's way more complicated. Why? Because the way rating stats convert to actual power is no longer linear, and honestly, it's just a mess. I ran a few quick calculations. In one case, I gained +1 physical power for every 44 power rating. In another case, it was 67. Same stat, different results. What?
So I am confusion. Why is this one Kansas, but this one is not Arkansas? America, explain!
This is happening because they added real diminishing returns, and it affects not just physical or magical power, but a bunch of other stats as well. Personally, I'm not a big fan of this, as it kind of feels like downscaling in a way. Like, if my gloves give 500 power rating, then I want to be able to instantly calculate in my head that it equals to +10 physical power, not +5 on Tuesday and +12 on Wednesday. And hear me out, I get the reasoning behind it, sure. But that doesn't change the fact that for most players, it's just plain confusing. Personally, I don't really mind when a game gets a bit too complicated. I might grumble a bit, sure, but I'll adapt either way. But if we take the average player who doesn't spend 12 hours a day in the game, it may be too much, and for some players, updates like this might become the straw that breaks the camel's back. In simple words, a PhD in data analysis should not be required in order to figure out which gear I want to equip on my character in a video game. On the other hand, diminishing returns are pretty much a soft cap. Stacking just strength or intelligence won't cut it anymore. Players will need to think a bit more about their builds, not just dump everything into one stat and hope for the best. Hopefully, this means fewer groups of 10 people camping the same mob all day just for one best-in-slot drop. And finally, gear with other stats might actually be useful now. Imagine that. That is definitely a win for crafters, and I guess the economy as well. Enchanting was one of the main reasons for the low TTK in Phase 2, and it wasn't left untouched. But the way the devs handled it, kinda unexpected. The stat values got heavily inflated, and I mean it. I logged into the PTR, so over 1000 dexterity on my character, and I guess you can only imagine my surprise and confusion. But what does it actually mean? Well, now, when you enchant items, they gain additional stat value that's either exactly equal to the, intended 1% boost, or at least it's much closer to that. Basically, no more ridiculous 100% jumps like before. And guess what? Still, not everyone is happy. A lot of players are confused, and some of them are even annoyed by seeing 4-digit numbers for basic stats. And yeah, that's a fair point. But here's the thing. Those inflated values only appear in the core attributes panel. They do not affect actual stats, and no, you're not gonna start hitting mobs for 10 million crits. NPCs, consumables, set bonuses, and caravans have also received new updated stat curves. Consumables, from the looks of it, are about to play a much more significant role in a character's overall power. The nerf to enchanting has raised a fair question. Where are we supposed to spend our gold now, if not on enchanting, which used to be a massive gold sink? Well, this might just be the answer. Consumables, even though it's technically not a gold sink. But let's be honest, even though enchanting is not as OP anymore, we're still going to enchant our gear anyway, right? Now, as for caravans, it's kinda hard to say. One of my guildmates tried attacking a random caravan with 600k HP, and judging by the damage he was dealing, I would say it would have taken him around 30 minutes or even more to destroy it, assuming nobody interfered. Upgraded caravans were already nearly indestructible, and it doesn't look like much has changed in that regard. On top of that, HP regen for caravans is back, which only makes the idea of caravan raids even more questionable. Rebalanced archetype-specific stat gain curves. It's hard to say what this actually means in practice, but at first glance, it seems like character level might now play a slightly more important role than it did before. As for health scaling, yeah, no clue. Maybe it's changed, maybe it hasn't, maybe it now scales with lunar phases and your character's favorite color. Who knows? I'll figure it out eventually, once my chicken brain recovers after processing all the information. What will PvE actually look like after all these changes? It's a question pretty much every player has asked themselves, and the opinions, as usual, are all over the place. Some say grinding mobs feel slightly slower and in some areas a bit more dangerous, simply because players are not as strong as they used to be, and they like that. Others say PvE now feels a bit more boring and a bit less dynamic. Either way, I think we'll only truly find out once Phase 3 launches, especially if we all end up starting from level 1 again. So, what do you think? Do you have mixed feelings too? Or maybe you're busy typing your 25th furious comment in the Ashes of Creation Discord? Personally, I'm still not quite sure how to feel about all this. I obviously don't like the inflated numbers or the fact that everything feels more confusing and less intuitive now. But at the same time, I feel like I might just need more time in game to figure it out. Maybe it's just a matter of getting used to it and eventually things will start making sense. We'll see that soon enough. I also think about it this way. If this rework had to happen, and let's be honest, it did, considering how many people were complaining about the low TTK, then when, if not now? They mentioned that this will continue to receive additional rebalancing, and there's still almost 3 weeks left before Phase 3 kicks off. That is probably not enough to make it perfect, but I do think it's enough to make things at least a bit better. By the way, if you want to check out the full patch notes, I'll leave a link in the description. I did not go over every single thing, just the key points, because otherwise it would have turned into a 1-hour video, and that kind of deep dive fits better on a stream. Speaking of that, I'm actually planning to start streaming again in Phase 3. Might sound a bit strange, but yeah, I kinda miss it. You'll find a link to my Twitch in the description and in the pinned comment. Feel free to drop a follow if you feel like it. Also, make sure you let me know what you think in the comments, or don't if you're still too busy yelling in Discord. Either way, Phase 3 is coming and we will all be there to see how it plays out. If this video was interesting, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. I am Flanker, and I'll see you soon.